If there's one thing that Pokemon games are severely lacking, it's Pokeball variety. Think about it. As of Generation 9, we have over 1,000 collectible monsters, yet there are still only around 30 balls that they can call home. I think it's time for this to change, and a recent episode of the new Pokemon Horizon series may have just revealed some new Pokeballs we could be seeing in upcoming games. In order to understand why the prospect of new Pokeballs is something to be excited for, let's establish what a Pokeball actually is. In the game, a Pokeball is the mechanism in which you add new monsters to your team. If you're in a battle with a wild Pokemon, you have the opportunity to use a Pokeball to try and capture it. The thing about catching Pokemon is that it's usually in some part luck-based, as when a Pokeball is thrown, there is a chance the Pokemon can escape, and you as a player can do certain actions to make the Pokemon more likely to be captured, such as lowering its health, affecting it with a status condition, or using a more effective type of Pokeball. Beyond the standard Pokeball, there are other more effective Pokeball, with the most basic upgrades being the Great Ball and the Ultra Ball, which make you a little more likely to succeed in a capture. However, the Ultra Ball doesn't always give you the highest chance of capturing your target, as there are other kinds of Pokeballs that can be even stronger than the Ultra Ball, if used under specific circumstance. For example, the Net Ball has a much higher chance of capture, but only on water and bug-type Pokemon, and a Dusk Ball has a much higher chance of capture, but only in the nighttime or in a cave. There are even some Pokeballs that, instead of affecting catch rate, have an effect on the Pokemon it was captured in. For example, the Heal Ball fully heals the Pokemon captured within it, meaning any damage or status conditions inflicted against the wild Pokemon you captured will be healed once it's added to the party. There's also the Luxury Ball and Friend Ball that make the Pokemon captured within them gain friendship points faster. These effects are incredibly minor, as healing is usually readily available after battles anyway, and friendship is only useful for evolving certain Pokemon and increasing the power of one attack. However, it doesn't matter that the effects of the Heal Ball, Luxury Ball, or Friend Ball aren't game-breaking. What matters is that they just do something a little different. These different Pokeballs have a positive effect on the gameplay, as they encourage the player to stock up on all these different kinds of items, and encourages them to think about which ball is best to use in each encounter. The fun of different Pokeballs isn't so much that they make any aspect of the game easier. In most playthroughs, you can get along just fine using Ultra Balls. What makes all these different Pokeballs special is that they give just a little bit of variety to the catching process, and once they're used on the Pokemon, they become a core part of that Pokemon's identity, since the ball a Pokemon is caught in is displayed right next to its name, and also seen when the Pokemon is sent into battles. Because of this one little detail, I always feel encouraged to have Pokemon on my team caught in different Pokeballs. Lunatone in a Great Ball? Whatever. Lunatone in a Moon Ball? Spectacular! Different Pokeballs are an aspect of the game that is really important to me, and for some reason, it's not important to GameFreak. For some reason, GameFreak just doesn't add new Pokeballs to games anymore. While you can find some examples of new Pokeballs being added after Generation 4, like the Dream Ball, the Beast Ball, or the Hisuian Pokeballs, there has not been any easily obtainable new Pokeballs added to the main series since Generation 4, which was 17 years ago. And of the Pokeballs that are still available, Game Freak is incredibly stingy with a lot of them, especially the Apricorn Balls. Seriously, I don't know why Game Freak only allows you to get one of each Apricorn Ball per game, pretty much. They aren't even all that special. They just look cool, and I want to use them. It's downright cruel of them to make them so rare. For some reason, Game Freak is incredibly particular about different kinds of Pokeballs being included in the games. I don't know why this is, and I've complained about it plenty of times in other videos. But in this video, I want to be more optimistic, and I think I have a reason to, since we just got a big hint towards new Pokeballs being added to the series. The Pokemon Horizons episode titled Orla and the Pokeball Smith has a few scenes focused on these new Pokeball designs. Now, the Pokemon anime is no stranger to showing off Pokeballs that never actually got added to the main series games. Just look at the GS Ball or Mewtwo's Clone Balls. However, there's something about the Pokeballs featured in this episode that really make me think they're gonna be used in the games. There are 6 Pokeballs that can be seen in this episode that have never appeared in the games. Let's start with the Ancient Pokeball. Now, this isn't the first episode of this show that the Ancient Pokeball appeared in. It's actually a major part of the plot, most notably as the home of the shiny Rayquaza that all the main characters are trying to find. Judging from how it's presented in the show, the Ancient Pokeball is the ball that seems the least able to be translated to actual gameplay. Its main purpose is to be a cool, mysterious Pokeball that holds on to legendaries. I suppose in-game it could have a purpose similar to that of the Beast Ball, where it only works effectively against the legendary Pokemon it's trying to capture. There's also this Silver Pokeball. I don't think there's any indication of what this Pokeball does in-universe, but there were many of these Pokeballs produced in the episode, showing us that they aren't as rare as the Ancient Pokeball. If a Pokeball like this is introduced in the game, I think it's likely you'll be able to get many of them in a repeatable fashion, such as through buying them at shops. What this ball could do in-game, I'm not quite sure. It gives me luxury ball vibes, so maybe it can improve a certain characteristic of any Pokemon captured within it. Perhaps it grants a Pokemon its hidden ability, or it makes it gain EVs faster. The next 4 Pokeballs are all shown off in a row. First is the Rocket Ball, a Pokeball that flies super fast towards its target. Then we see the Boomerang Ball, which, well, that one's kind of self-explanatory. Then there's the Bomb Ball, which explodes if you hold it for too long. And lastly, we see the Chase Ball, which tracks down the nearest Pokemon and tries to capture it. Now, these last 4 Pokeballs have something in common. Rather than having an effect on a specific Pokemon's catch rate, each of these Pokeballs have a different way of being thrown. With Pokemon Legends ZA right around the corner, I think it's pretty likely that all 4 of these Pokeballs will appear in that game, as they fit in quite well with the Legends gameplay of actually aiming and throwing the Pokeball. They even featured a Hisuian Pokeball in the scene that these Pokeballs were revealed. How is that not a hint? While I am almost certain these Pokeballs will appear in Legends ZA, I would be pretty disappointed if that's the only place they appear in, and I'm really crossing my fingers these Pokeballs will be in Generation 10 as well. In order for these Pokeballs to work in a non-Legends game, they obviously would need some kind of effect other than how they are thrown, since in mainline Pokemon games you don't actually aim the Pokeball. One possibility is that Generation 10 changes this, and Legends-esque Pokeball aiming is adopted across the entire series. But I also think that these Pokeballs could have added effects beyond just how they're thrown. Perhaps the Bomb Ball works better on fire types. Perhaps the Rocket Ball works better on flying type. Little details like that can go a long way. And if these Pokeballs really are Legends exclusive, can we at least please get some proper new Pokeballs in Generation 10? Maybe the Silver Pokeball I mentioned earlier will get to be a main series Pokeball. My worst nightmare is that Generation 10 has the same Nest Ball, Quick Ball, and Repeat Balls available in their shops with the once per game Apricorn Balls and no new Pokeballs at all! GameFreak, please, add some new Pokeballs already. Well, what do you think? Will these Pokeballs be added to Legends ZA? Do you also want new Pokeballs? Let me know in the comments below. Hey, if you like this video on Pokeballs, you should check out this other video all about the strangest Pokeball ever, the Moon Ball. Or check out another one of my Pokemon videos here. If you like what I do and want to see me do more of it, consider becoming a channel member or checking out my Patreon, link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.